Anyway, good morning. Got up a little later this morning because, well, went to bed later. And I'm going to touch up this morning on something to take into consideration longer life or just better quality of life through supplementation or diet and so forth. And why is that important? And why should maybe some people just kind of throw their hands up and say, look, there's no guarantee for this, there's no guarantee for that, and there really isn't. But through science, we've been able to understand why certain different elements and minerals and stuff actually benefit your body. So it's not for everyone. You win a prize. Well, I actually have 300 subscribers. Now, anybody who's been listening to me for a long time, although you don't see a shitload of videos out there, I don't even bother to leave them on. And there's really no purpose. I figure I'll do a live stream and get my audience then. If they basically get something out of what I say, it's really cool. We're not monetized here. If you're just tuning in, I'm an American living in the Philippines, of all places, yes, the Philippines. And I'm a person that's probably in his last 1 or 2 decades of life, really, when you think about it. And as such, and when we all get older, we do tend to ponder the thoughts about things like longevity, quality of life, and so forth. I think that comes into everybody's mind. Everybody. Now, I've showed people these supplements I have, but people don't understand, does not mean I take all these supplements every day. I want to clear that up. No, there's certain supplements I take on a daily basis, routinely, and there's certain supplements I will take actually intermittently. So no, I don't have like $5,000 worth of supplements here that I'm taking every damn day. And that's not the way I do it. This is a different show. I mean, we are going to address, a lot of you are, well, we're all aging, whether you like it or not. And just kind of a takeaway. This is a kind of a takeaway show to kind of concentrate on something a little bit different than a normal on here, as far as the controlling trolls and so forth, which just kind of dominates social media all the time. Philippines okay. It's got its ups and downs, like anywhere else does. I mean, really. Keep your nose clean, you'll be all right, and try to eat the foods you want to eat, not foods that you're forced to eat, because, the Filipino diet is generally, they eat a lot of vegetables, which is good, but generally, their diet is fried foods and all kinds of crazy stuff. So they're not really concerned with fats and pork. Pork is terrible. I'll tell everybody that. Pork is actually terrible for you. Well, brisket, you're always the first one. Well, hello, brisket. Let me ask you a question. I don't know how long you've been listening to me, number one. Number two, let's shoot this off. Have you ever taken any of my advice on here, on anything, whether it's supplementation or my basic philosophy of life or whatever it might be? And be honest about it. You could say, no, I haven't, or you could agree. Now, I usually put things on my show of things that I learn. It comes from another party, things they said on their video, or whatever it might be, or seen on their video, or research I've done personally. And I always like to do a disclaimer on my show. I'm not a doctor, and if you have any health problems, refer to your own physician. I am not a professional nutritionist, never claimed on that. Through my own research and studying, I have basically figured out which supplementations I should be taking, because everybody's body is different from everybody else's. And everybody thinks that Filipino, they always do, yeah. Yeah, I barely eat any pork, really. I don't. I have to admit that chicken is, because it's so readily available. Chicken is predominantly my meat diet, you know. Beef, yes, but not as much. But chicken, you can almost count on chicken, if not every day, every other day or something. Chicken is going to be in a diet. Other than, there's some good Filipino dishes that are just made of gulay, vegetables. So I do tend to get the vegetables down. I have the most unusual breakfasts sometime, and I could one day have a bowl of kidney beans or something, or garbanzo beans, or maybe some broccoli, or whatever I happen to have available that I could get locally. On and off for 2 years, okay. And what is your consensus of my philosophy and my thoughts about just about everything that I actually post on here? That's a broad range of topics on here, really. Whether it is my own philosophy, health, the diet, a healthy diet, whatever it might be, whatever you were able to actually absorb from me. All right, Brisket says we're on the same page on health generally. I'm more focused on exercise and diet. Yeah, the exercise thing, I admit, it did level off when I had a kidney stone thing going on. I had an infection to urethra, but that was very interesting. I discussed that with my viewers. It wasn't very pleasant. So they're telling you to stay away from foods that create oxalates. That's going to, there's certain foods that do contain, but I think the secret is, try to drink as much water as you can. And that's, me, I could put down a cup of water, it's going to come out. I mean, I'll urinate, I don't know how many times a day, and it has to do from a lot of things. Age has to do with a prostate being slightly enlarged, which is normal. No, I don't have a prostate the size of an egg, as somebody said on there. No, but that's kind of a natural process going on with people. I can't think of anything you've said I strongly disagree on. Okay, well, that's kind of a positive comment. Yeah. There's the age versus quality of life, and I don't know. It's an individualistic thing. What you or I might consider quality of life, does that mean a lot of travel? What does that mean? Does it mean able to have sex? Does it mean having energy? Does it mean having to walk on your own at a later age? You can wipe your own ass, whatever. That has to do under the definition of quality of life, where you can, as a senior, do all these things that some people might just take for granted until something happens and you can't do all these things, and you'll realize how fortunate you were being able to do this, not have to have somebody do it for you. That's kind of where I stand. I mean, I'm the kind of person that'll basically say, and that's why I want to have a medical directive too. I'm the kind of person that would say that if I become a burden to my mate, I think that's a problem. If it's just very minor, okay, but if it's like the full Monty, and they have to give me every sort of care possible. I can't walk, or couldn't even eat on my own, couldn't go to the bathroom on my own, or whatever. I mean, that's when the quality of life disappears. Brisket says, I don't want to live to a point where I have to be dressed, bathed, and toileted. That's the point I'm making right here. Now, I've been fortunate. No, I'm not an octogenarian yet. For those that are listening, I am 70 years old. I'm still very vibrant, and I try to stick to a... Oh, you got some... What do you have here? You have some... peppers. Okay, cool. Birds eat that. I don't know how they do, but they love it. Yeah. Now, this morning, I didn't have anything that was actually I would consider totally healthy. My diet varies. I had some leftover chicken parmesan from a restaurant that I went to yesterday with a piece of toast. But then, however, I'm chasing it down with obviously that proverbial cup of tea all the time on here, which happens to be green tea. And in the green tea, generally, I will put turmeric in there with a shot of black pepper. It's the pepper that synergizes the turmeric, and we'll tell you about turmeric in a second here, but just going to try to make this interesting for you rather than, oh God, it's another health show. But turmeric comes from curcumin, it's an element in there. And people use it, they'll use it in curry, they use it in a lot of different things. But you can't just put turmeric in a glass of water and drink and expect it's going to absorb and get benefits. You have to have something fatty with it. That could be butter, that could be a piece of meat, it could be, I don't know, even fish oil. And consumed maybe in a cup of tea. How do you know it's good turmeric? Well, turmeric doesn't really float in water. Generally, good turmeric will actually, it will come to the surface. It's kind of hard to mix in. It's not going to mix in water. I make green tea and I put my turmeric in it. And the reason I put black pepper in it, because it synergizes the turmeric by 2,000%, if you can imagine that. What about turmeric, which is so great? And, anti-inflammatory. Heart helps with cancer possibilities. There's a whole list that goes on with turmeric's good for. So in your spare time, and if you have a lot of spare, if you're listening to me, you probably have spare time. Look up turmeric and all the benefits to it. Okay, everything I do. Now, we have a lot of people, even naysayers on YouTube, that say, oh, this guy spends all this money on this and that and this and that. Well, I don't know. I've lived to be 70 already. I'm doing something right. And I think I've been doing this for about 45 years, give or take. I don't know. It's not exact science how long I've been doing this. I'm estimating. I'm still here. I'm able to function in every way. That's a good sign. I will get things like maybe my eyes are not as sharp as they used to be because I have, not ataxia, what's it called? One of my eyes. I have an astigmatism. It means one of your eyes is not as symmetric as the other eye. And it could cause a little bit of blurring. Even though that's the same eye, I had cataract surgery. You can only do so much. It's not debilitating, nothing like that. You could live with things like this. If you have a hiatal hernia, which I do have, it's over in the bottom of the esophagus, near the stomach. It doesn't bother me that much. It's there, but it doesn't bother. So to say my body's in perfect shape, no. I have what you might define as being ailments. Okay. What's that 1294? Oh, wise guy. Okay, I see what you're doing here. Yeah, I'll only take things if they are necessary to take. Because each body is different than everybody else's. You have certain needs that other people. Remember, and you're not getting all the wonderful, rich nutrients and everything from a lot of your produce that you used to get 20, 30, 40 years ago. There was a time you could say, well, just eat the right foods, have a balanced diet, and you should be okay. But that still does not apply because your body takes or has other needs than maybe another person's body. And that's based on your environment, and there's a whole lot of factors that go along with that. Okay, Kiki's back here. Birds are not mammals. They don't have the same receptors as us. That's why they can eat the chili and not feel the spice. I guess so. I never studied that, but they love it. Okay. I can't eat strong peppers anyway, Only peppers I could eat are, bell peppers, like green, even the red, the yellow. They're excellent foods. If you can get it out here, you can get it out here. But the problem is that, it's going to put a dent in your budget. One pepper, a good large, if you could find one, a green pepper could cost you like a couple of bucks American equivalent for one lousy pepper. I don't have the best soil here, so I haven't grown any peppers, but I want to maybe make it above ground or something, planter or something and grow some of my own. Some of the things I can't get out here readily, that I consider to be fresh or anything like that, you know. Yeah, I'm sorry today that we're not doing any drama on today's show. And I know a lot of people tune in, they tune out when they don't hear drama. But for those that kind of hang around here, they generally do come away from my show with some information. Yeah. That's, it's all talk, and I haven't done anything yet because I try to find some good soil. I don't have a compost pile thing, and I don't, trying to find, like, in America, I just go out to Home Depot, and all the time I buy these bags of this different quality of soil you can buy. They weren't cheap for the bag, but it was good soil. Hey, I got good soil out of my gutters. I remember the first time I ever cleaned the gutters on this house. It was black. Black is the ace of spades. High in nutrients from organic matter that broke down. Leaves. There might have been some insects mixed in with there that died. There might have been whatever. But it was highly organic and just coming out of my gutters, getting a little spade and scooping this stuff out into a bag. And that was some really rich soil. Well, talk is cheap, and actually doing it and talk about it is two different things. As I said, sometimes you just get lazy and, okay, good idea, but, I have a lot of ideas, but I don't execute all my ideas. But I may have shown people on my camera a lot. I have this shitload of vitamins, but I'll again say, no, I don't take all those vitamins every day. I will take only certain ones, and then later on I may take another one, but for a different purpose. But the whole idea behind all the vitamins and supplements, really has to do with kind of keeping your immune system strong and fighting off all these beautiful free radicals that roam through your body, whether you smoke or anything you might do, vape. If you breathe air, you're getting in free radicals from the environment, and that's a done deal. And it just takes it in. And your body has a good defense system, but can only do so much. And sometimes you need a little bit of help. Brisket says gardening is a good stress reliever, then you get the benefits of clean food. Yeah, I just don't have land around here. We have a relatively small yard. The house takes up most of the lot. And the rest of the yard is, I don't know, it's pretty hard soil, and there's rocks embedded in there, different there. I don't know. The very fact that we have all these plants growing here is amazing. A lot of them are in pots. I'll quickly show you that. Just walking out my door, what she's done. And there are things that are growing on the side here. A lot of these things are in pots. Some are not in pots. Yeah, and you could control the situation a little bit better. So you can see what I'm doing here. We're doing. A lot of this is in pots, and some of it is actually not. By the way, we got a beautiful breeze out here this morning. So basically, putting control on your time too and what you do. Now, here's the thing: you at least got to make an effort to try to do some form of cardio. Anything as minimal as it could be. You don't have to go over a certain heartbeat, although that's what actually gets you the cardio actually benefits and so forth, and that's what gives you that. Go over a little bit, but not overdo it. But if you want to understand something, that keeping things in moderation is probably the best thing you could do. I don't care whether it's supplementation, a diet. Good morning. Mm-hmm. Or anything like that. Sorry, I turned your light off. I didn't know you were in there, but you don't need a light on in there now. It's daylight, Okay, all right. I still come to the conclusion it is better to than do not. Okay. And I'll always emphasize every single show I'm trying. Crap. It's not crap. It's actually good stuff. Don't do anything. Don't overdo anything. And that's even supplementation. I personally am kind of a semi-guru on this stuff, but still, I don't know everything. I don't know everything. And there could have been certain supplements that had led to me getting kidney stones when I had it. When I made the big mistake of having someone come over and do IV treatment with glutathione, and you have to read up on glutathione what that does. But she was adding 10,000 milligrams of, equivalent to vitamin C in there, and that could contribute to your kidney stones. Okay, very easily. So I quit doing that, both for the expense and considering that there's just a lot of shit thrown in there, like some stem cells, which probably from a vegetarian source and from China or something. It wasn't very powerful or any effective anyway. You heard of stem cell therapy and all that stuff. It was just, it's like throwing extra junk into a food source that you don't need, but it sounds good because, it has a lot of vitamin C in there, so it's got to be good. No, not everything is good because it maybe either has something natural in it. That doesn't mean it's good at all. You got to do your own research on that. Like I said, I'm a kind of a semi, I call it semi guru on this kind of stuff. But after I listened to some shows on the internet, and these are very highly scientific people, some of them are doctors and researchers, and some are not. But some have the equivalency of some of these people with really high degrees, professionalism in supplementation, nutrition, and what does this and what does that and what doesn't do that. I will listen to those people. It doesn't mean I agree with everything they say, because I've heard some really botched up reports from people that I don't agree on. Okay, light weights would be very good for you if I do that. Keep it as much. Yeah, you have to have a little bit of muscle mass, and that's the thing I'm working on. Yeah, you got to maintain a little muscle mass because if you don't maintain that, your whole health system goes down. It really does. But during the time, I was kind of out of it. When I had that stupid kidney stone thing, it kind of sent me off balance in a lot of ways. And then certain medicines I was taking for various reasons on the kidney stones afterwards and during or before or whatever. I stopped for 3, 4 months doing any cardio of any sort, like a treadmill. I'm still to this day still working back up to it. When you stop doing something, you get lazy. But then I'll do things like calisthenics. In the middle of the day, I was just suddenly doing some push-ups, leaning against a hard surface and doing 50 or so and trying to repeat that. Even calisthenics are good. Yeah, I got to get back on the treadmill. That's for damn sure. And one of my biggest excuses, that's one of the hottest rooms in the place because it has window from floor to ceiling on both two sides. It gets warm there. Sometimes even a fight. So I blow a fan into there. I sometimes get lazy on that too. Yeah. But the main thing to do is not to find excuses. I mean, we're all guilty of that. And we're guilty of anything. Of being a charlatan or a fraud, as some people will call you. You don't have a college degree. Oh, shit. Shove it down your throat, pal. Don't let people tell you about your life and what you should do unless you do your own research. And even if it's me saying, okay, something is a simple cup of green tea could do wonders to you, you don't have to listen to me. Just, I've been doing this for more years than I can count. I had, as I said, I had turmeric to it, black pepper. You don't have to do that. I do that. I'm saying to you that there are benefits to this if you take it every day. Absolutely. I'm more interested in the antioxidant value. I'm interested in taking supplements or eating things that have uh, anti-inflammatory effects on your system, and turmeric certainly does. Comes from curcumin. Strawberries have the same effect too. Capsaicin, I never pronounce it right, from peppers has the same effect. Anyway, no, there's no drama on this morning's show. I usually do an earlier show. I got up later. I got up a couple of times last night, actually. But I went back to sleep. And I just kind of laid in bed for a while, just kind of vegetating, just vegging out, just laying there and just kind of resting instead of being up so early, as I normally get up pretty early. Yeah, getting a good night's sleep is another valuable thing you need to do. And a lot of us don't for various reasons. A lot of us just, you should be getting your 8 hours in every night, and a lot of us don't. And no, I don't get up overnight to take a piss like a lot of older men do. Every now and again I do. The thing is, just don't drink a lot of water before you go to bed, although some people advise it. And there's always counteractive advice that your body's going to go for 7 or 8 hours and not be dehydrated, and not be hydrated. So it's good to take a half a cup of water before you go to sleep. But if you have even a slightly enlarged prostate, then you could be getting up more than once a night, which interrupts your sleep. I don't have a really, BPH, benign prostate hyperplasia, whatever. I have a slightly enlarged, but enlarged enough to play effect. And even though I was gifted a shitload of bottles of prostate health medicine, none of that is really, it may help a little bit. It's not going to cure an enlarged prostate, but it could help with keeping it at bay. It might even help slightly reduce it, but now the guy I got this off, and these are brand new bottles, a couple of different types. And what is that one chemical in it? Cystosterol, whatever, is an important ingredient in that. Saw palmetto and things like that. But you're never going to get rid of it. You can slightly reduce it, keep it under control to a certain point, but that's it. I got a number of bottles of that stuff. It's very expensive. So I kind of was gifted a whole shitload of vitamins on top of what I normally have. I mean, a shitload. I don't know. I would say, now that I calculate, it's more like $3,000 worth of vitamins rather than $2,000. When I looked up some of these things, I said, holy cow, seriously. Okay, I was shocked and disturbed to hear someone was upset by your new profile picture. I really don't understand. Thank you. Yeah, brisket. Oh, I like the picture. I like it. It doesn't look like anybody I know. That'd be pure coincidence if it did. Pure coincidence. Don't you think, brisket? Yeah. I got a vitamin vault now. I should. You can't put everything in a controlled environment for temperature and everything. You got to take your chances. I got my food storage room, I wish I have other little things, little tools. There's just different places to throw things out of the way. But I got 2 shelves devoted to the vitamins. And no, I don't. Just to kind of make it clear, that multitude of vitamins that I show, I do not take that every day. No. I'm not that stupid. I vary on the vitamins I take, and for different reasons. And and there's a guy out there that wants to prolong his longevity. He's been on the internet a lot. Brian Thomas, I think is his name. This guy goes way out. He's a tech millionaire or whatever. In his house, he has old medical equipment in there. He has things that'll measure every function of his freaking body. He's trying to reduce his actual age to be maybe a few years younger than his chronological age. But he goes way out. And he doesn't have a life. He really doesn't. He's constantly testing himself and timing everything he does down to every single thing that he eats. Now me, I say that is absolutely ridiculous. It's hard to me to believe anyone can be born so ugly. Nature isn't Nature isn't so cruel. Well, I ain't the man I used to be, I'll tell you that. Many times I look in the mirror and I said, who the fuck is that looking back at me? I don't recognize him. Who the hell is that? That's not what I used to look like. But as I said, I've maybe more fortunate than others, less fortunate than others, I don't know, that have aged very well. I think I've aged not greatly well, but I think I've aged fairly well. And I look at somebody like, the guy beginning the letter D that's always, pounding on me all the time. He's 2 years younger than me, but he looks around 80 years old. So we're all different in how our body, how well it ages. But one thing, though, I will, and I don't have, is collagen. I used to have collagen tablets. I would suggest that, absolutely. But if you take your vitamin C, that's going to help with the elasticity of your skin and a whole host of other things, too, a whole host. But vitamin C can help produce more collagen, or certainly serve it. Do a little test with yourself, actually. Take a fold of skin on your wrist or something. I'm on camera, so I can't do it. And you pull up your fold of skin. If it retracts really quickly, then you got some pretty good elasticity in your skin. Okay, you're probably doing well with vitamin C and so forth. But if you see that your skin, it takes a while to get down, I don't mean a long while, it's just not really quick, then you've kind of lost a lot of elasticity, and maybe you need more vitamin C and collagen and so forth. Simple test, simple test. Do you like what I'm talking to you right now? But, yeah, try that. Yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah, quit young. It's always easy to say, quit this, quit that. It's not always easy. Some people manage. I finished my tea here. And look, I can't even say that I'm doing everything perfectly. I'm just doing the best of what I've learned, and it's really all I can do. Would it be a lot of nonsense on some of the vitamins I'm taking? Perhaps. But most of the stuff I take does serve a purpose, but it's really not true, and I'll tell you right now, again, it's really not true that if you eat a good diet that you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need. That simply is not true, especially nowadays. No, that's not true. That's why I do things like supplementing. That's exactly why I do that. All right, so what am I trying to achieve? Quality of life or longevity of life? I think I'm trying to do both, really. Why do I want to live a long time? Well, nobody is. Come on, let's get real and face it. Nobody wants to look forward to dying unless you have such health issues that are so debilitating and you're in awful pain and you can't get rid of the pain and your quality of life has gone down, 90% or whatever. Then I could see where people would say, hey, man, let me go, lover. If you're old as me, you remember that song. I don't even know who sung it, actually. But to know that song, I'm up there in age. Yeah, there comes a point in time that I think you have to weigh things out and say, what's the purpose of this anymore? Fuck it. Nah, don't resuscitate me. Fuck the shit. Just let me go. I've lived a good long life, and goodbye, everybody, and see you in another universe or a parallel universe or something. Or if you're religious, I'll see you in heaven, or maybe I'll see you in hell. Me, I'm 70. May 31st, 1954, last May. I'm 70. And most people who meet me They don't usually think I'm 70 years old. It used to be a time, maybe 5 years ago, that they thought I was in my 50s, but time catches up with you. Now they'll be kind and, you know, yeah, you look like you're in your 60s, but you don't look 70. Now we got a guy out there that's so grayed out and looks like he's about 80 years old. He's actually 2 years younger than me. He's one of the guys that critiques everything I do on here. And he's one of the people that yeah, you're doing better than you are doing better than most your age. Um, I would say I am. I would say I am. I mean, I'll even ask my girlfriend. I say, look, forget the fact you love me or anything like that. If you just saw me on the street, put your emotions aside and everything. How old did you say I was, or do you think I look healthy? Do you think whatever? She says yes. I said, come on, be honest with me. Put your emotions aside and our involvement and all that stuff or whatever, and just be honest. You tell me what you think. She says, no, you actually look really good for your age, and you do look healthy. And I've got those comments from a lot of people. So maybe apparently what I do, as far as some of the things I eat, some of the things I take supplementation, is actually gone its course and has actually worked for me. Yeah, there's Viking. I agree. You look younger than your age. I saw your Ayala Mall in passing last March. You saw me in Ayala Mall, or you saw a video? Oh, you saw me at Ayala Mall in March, and you knew it was me? Well, you should have said hello or something. You follow me around, or was it an accident? Did you just automatically knew it was me? And how did you know it was me? Did you recognize Gilda or something together, or how did that come about? I'm just curious. Just curious. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you should have said hello. I know you're from YouTube or something. Unless you were a troll that I didn't really like, and I might have fucking popped you one. No, I wouldn't do that. Not in a mall, anyway. Or you might pop me the other way around, and I'll wind up a bloody mess. No, I'm not a violent person by nature. I'm really not. Unless I have to be. Yeah. You were headed to a shoe store. Okay, it had to be my girlfriend's needs or wants or something for her kids. Really? March, 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 March. Oh, last March? That's, yeah. Oh, God, that's a year ago. That's a year ago. We're not even at March yet. We're not even in February yet. And he didn't sit there or stand there and start videotaping me? That would be unusual. I saw Frank in the mall. That would make big news on here. No matter what I do, it's big news. They'll try to rip anything apart that I talk about on here. That's pretty commonplace on here. Whether I'm talking about supplementation or whatever I'm talking about, or somebody's going to argue whether I had a college degree or not. That was the newest and the best maybe. People telling me whether I had a college degree or not, and I made that transcript up. Well, let's look at it this way. Sensibility of that. It definitely isn't brief. Put it this way: if I made up a transcript, and I should have thought about saying this before, but it just comes to my mind now. That if I made up my own transcript, wouldn't I give myself all B's and A's and everything else instead of having mediocre grades? I didn't have the highest grades in the world, but this was an art school. They rated you differently on your GPA. It was just different than your standard college. As I said, a lot of it had to do with field work and this and that. I mean, I don't want to get into that again, really. But if I had made up something, why would I put my GPA on there or show the grades? And some said, oh, there wasn't the highest grades. Okay, I would, if anything, if I made something up, I would put the GPAs, everything on there, all the grades I got for each course I took. I would make it a higher grade. Does that make more sense to you? Yeah. Oh, you don't think it's Brevis doing the? Oh, what particular thing? Oh, truthfully, I mean, I just get up every morning, and I haven't even taken any supplements other than turmeric in my tea. Well, I'm going to after I get off the show here do that, but I'm very selective. C is in my diet every day. It's always going to be vitamin C, and normally you don't need as much as 1,000 milligrams. I do it because, well, if you smoke, theoretically you're robbing your body of about 25 milligrams of vitamin C for every cigarette you smoke. So you got to make up for that for somehow. And you do get vitamin C in other foods and stuff, but how well tolerable it's well tolerated or digested or utilized in your system is another thing. But I do supplement with C absolutely, and D3 with K2 every single day, every single day. I could definitely tell you those. I think an important element to take is magnesium. There's so many different types of magnesium that you're going to blow your head up trying to figure what's right. And there's one guy I was listening to on here just this morning, in fact, a very, very learned guy. He's a freaking scientist, man. And what he does with his body, he takes different types of magnesium different times a day. And I'm saying that's just a little bit too much. I'll take something that's highly absorbable like magnesium citrate, but I take the citrates for a reason. I told you I do everything for a reason. I take the citrates because the citrates work well against, formulation of kidney stones, which I just previously had 5 months ago, whatever. God, time goes by so fast. I can't even believe it, man. God, my brother passed away. March is coming up anytime too soon, and my brother passed away on March 8th of last year, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, man? March is around the corner. Time goes by so fast. That's why you got to think about what you want to do. What do you regard as quality of life and so forth? And what do you think you need to do to make you have quality life? Should you be going out every day, planning a trip with a bonker boat to another island? Should you be snorkeling? Should you be running a fucking marathon? No, no. We can't all do that. A simple, if you could take a 20-minute walk every fucking day, a brisk walk, you're giving yourself probably about 20% better chance on your cardiovascular health. Moving around. You like to watch TV? A lot of seniors do. I have my share. I always get up from my share to walk around. You got to circulate your blood. Now, that's a highly critical thing I will talk about. Highly critical. And you ask you know, anyone that's lived to be 100 or something, what do you do? Well, I keep my blood moving. I keep. There are some people that eat the shittiest fucking. I was just listening to this guy this morning, and he said, there are some people that smoke and drink all their fucking life, eat the shittiest freaking foods, and they live to be a centurion. And the reason he explains that is that they're very unique because their little genomes there, their DNA, their genetics are rare. But see, what I do, and whether that's going to work, maybe it has worked. Maybe I should have been dead 10 years ago. I don't know. I really don't know. But I know as a fact, and some of the things I take that help with keeping your cells, your immune system strong to fight off diseases, to fight off inflammation. Because if you saw an x-ray, like we got some idiot in jail right now who claims he has a bad back. And one day, if I'll find these x-rays and findings, I'll take it out. And I'll show you what's going on with my back. And I'll tell you that, I should be having bigger problems, huge problems, compared to what I've had on an average with my skeletal structure, my spine, the vertebrae, you have the padding in between there that's getting thinner, and not everything is symmetrical. I have some level of scoliosis. Nothing is really symmetrical in there. I mean, and I should be in a lot worse shape with pain. I get backaches all the time, on and off every day. Nothing that's going to be, oh man, my back's hurting. I do get it though. I mean, I do. It's real. And when I went on a disability, let me tell you something. And that's how I was 48. And people make fun of the guys who worked, since he was 48 years old. Well, good for me in a way, but not good. But if you've seen damage to my back, I had a few accidents. I had even had a few accidents in a car that could have very well did some damage too, but I never had it examined to see if that caused the damage. But I could definitely tell you, and like anything else I can prove, I'll take these damn x-rays out and show you them, or show the findings that come along with these x-rays, and prove that I'm not telling a lie, that my back is pretty goddamn fucked up. I can prove it. Yeah. Uh, oh, okay. I thought there was a couple more comments. I'm not looking at the screen. I can prove it. But then the other thing about the college transcript, I'm still laughing on that, because if I were to present something phony, I would put my GPA or something on there, a greater scale, but it was real. And I don't have the patience to put together a phony forged document. Fact is, I went to 3 different colleges. It was true. It was true. And I did graduate from from the main college I went to. That's a success story. I didn't ace it on my grades, but I aced it in knowledge in many respects and aspects of what I studied. There was even anthropology. I could quote some things in anthropology that most people don't know. I've already talked about it the other day on distancing, how certain cultures distance themselves from us when they speak to us. That's just a small thing. Why people have slanted eyes, different Asians. Height having to do a lot of it. The kind of environment you live in. Is there a lot of sun? Is it desert? Is it colder? There's a lot of reasons why we have a certain height. There's a lot of reasons why people's eyes are different. The shape of their eyes are different, such as the Asians. And it all has to do with environmental. Believe it or not. But that's true. How many people know that? Not many. Because there are a bunch of dumb shits on here. And part of me, not everybody's a dumb shit. I mean, not everybody studies that, There's a lot of things the average Joe don't know. Whether it's anthropological or whatever it might be. Geographical, anthropological, biological, physiological, just the average Joe just wakes up every day and gets up, goes to work, gives a little missus a kiss on the cheek, see you in 10 hours, spends an hour commuting to get to work, puts in 8 to 10 hours a day, takes him another hour or so to get back home. He has dinner, he relaxes, watches TV, has sex with the missus, whatever he wants to do, plays with the kids, goes to bed for fucking 8 hours. So you have spent, and that's something most people don't think of. And there's a reason why we spend a third of our life sleeping. How long do you get to live? To think that we spend, because there is a rejuvenative effect to sleeping, and physiologically and biologically, why we need to sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, that's not real good. I don't think I get the best. There's a reason. Then you add up everything else you do. How much time do you spend taking a shit? How much time do you spend dressing? How much time do you spend eating food? How much time do you spend helping a kid with a project, or taking on a hobby, or doing something? How much time, but the main is, how much time do you have for yourself? And as it works out, a lot of times you don't. Because you got to pay the bills, and you're going to have to work. You have to sleep 8 hours a night. That's a third of your life, really, right there alone. You think about everything you will do in a course of a day.
and how many hours you actually have to yourself per day to actually do what you want. So, what's the answer to that? Sometimes you got to force these things or you got to fit these things in. What do I want to do for myself today? Not for my girlfriend, not for her kids. You know, what do I want to do for myself that's going to be satisfying me or satiates me in some way? What am I going to do for myself? And that's what you have to think about. Okay. Uh, Brisket says, could imagine if you showed an X-ray, 20 videos trying to debunk it, it will follow. Yeah. Brisket says, do you know why most people don't like public speaking? The theory of that. Well, because everybody has their own beliefs. I was watching a sci-fi movie last night. I'm sure I've seen it 3 times. I don't know, something about the end of the world. It's one of these damn things. There's going to be massive flooding and, a whole bunch of shit was going on. And you got the most learned people that were approaching people like the vice president and the president and other scientific community, and they were just thrown on their ass for coming with their scientific theory that was about to happen. And it did happen. You see, among professionals in the scientific community, they don't want to be downgraded by another professional in the scientific community. They want to take the credit for something. They feel they know everything and what you're saying is wrong. I don't agree with your theory. But you at least think that they could put their heads together and come to some conclusion, balance out both their theories about something, but that doesn't happen. They will degrade and discredit another scientist, a colleague, who has a totally different theory than yours. Because you spent a lot of money and time making your books and everything together, and and you go by what you wrote. And if somebody comes along, a fresh mind comes along and says, "No, professor, you're wrong. I don't agree with your theory." He's going to get insulted, and he's going to insult the other guy that may have learned, in more contemporary times, may have put the theories of the other professor to rest. So there's, a lot of politics that go on with that. So how do you say what's true and what's not? Sometimes you do have to find the scientific method to come to evaluation with something that's going on. And that's how we do things. As far as like believing in a God or this or that, I think you know where I stand on that. I go with the scientific method. Prove it to me. Prove it. And I do things to prove things. I put my transcripts on. When somebody just wants to pull my chain, sometimes I'll bite. I'll say, oh, there you go. I put them to shame. And I have fun doing that. But I go by the scientific theory. What makes sense to me, where life came from, that we're actually hybrids, and nobody wants to. See, you can't. You may have what some people may call some wild-haired theories about something that nobody wants to agree, whether it is Bigfoot or not, or whatever it might be. Nobody wants to look like they're a cuckoo bird when they come out with their own theories about life and evolution and how we evolved, and everybody has their own theories about how man evolved. No matter what, we started out with a small cell somewhere, whatever, or even a bacteria. Did we come from the ocean? Or did God put us here that we know is God? Don't ever argue with a religious person because you're going to get slapped in the face, big time, with wet hands to make it worse. You can't sometimes, in the proper word, people are basically, I'm trying to find the right word here, not hypnotized, but it's been ingrained in their head by their parents or their peers, by their teachers, that this is the way you do things. And if my parents believed, and for example, if you want to talk about religion, chances are that if your parents were religious, you were religious, and you believed in what they believed in. Because if my parents believed in it, it must be true. Just like that lame statement that if you read something on the internet, it must be true. It must be true if it came off the internet. Viking Sun says, God is real. How else will we explain this beautiful creation? Well, who says it comes from a God? Now, something I do talk about on here all the time, what we known as being a God. Remember, God spelled backwards is dog. Anyway, I like to say that all the time. Maybe I love dogs. What we know as a God, and I'm really not going to get terribly religious in here. This is all theoretical, and that's all it is. You know, ancient civilizations, they possessed two things on two different levels. Compared to us, they were stupid. It wasn't like stupid because they did things stupidly. They just did not have the understanding of technology as to the degree we may have it. But they had technology that we never could have had. How they built the pyramids, how they could precisely put stones together, almost like laser precision. Okay, my theory on all this is that they weren't really stupid. It just took a higher source of life that came in that was high tech life form that could do things that people on the earth at the time have never seen, and they thought you were godlike, or what they thought as a god or a deity that they needed to worship. For example, when, let's say, if, call them spaceships, what else could you call them, really? They came down and they're like freaking out. What the hell is that? We need to worship this. It's like something that we never seen before. It's a sign from the heavens or something. And these intellectuals, no matter what form they were in, came out. They introduced them to technology that they never had. Never had. If you want to talk about the Anunnaki, you want to talk about, there's so many different, I think, forms of life that have visited, and not necessarily extraterrestrial, but terrestrial right here on this planet, deep in the ocean or deep underground, that have been here the whole time. I personally think that we are basically clones. We're hybrids, because I've talked about this before. And one of the last stages of man, well, actually, they walked upright, but it would normally take millions of years of evolution to go through such changes as elongated arms being shorter, walking upright. Now, the theory behind this, if you're, whether you're a conspiracy theorist or you're just a plain smart person who is open-minded and can think out of the box, there had to be genetic re-engineering or engineering going on, okay? Because in history, it takes millions of years for anything to change. We know it's the lungfish in the Amazon. They never had, lungs or gills, to take in oxygen. But because there were droughts, there were floods and droughts, they had to adapt to the environment. They developed lungs. This is called evolution. Evolution. Let's see, these parts of Alabama where if you walk upright and aren't covered in filth, they assume you're some kind of a god. And so you've been told. That's funny. Evolution. Our cranium is actually growing because our brain, as the future comes, is going to be more enlarged. Therefore, your cranium has to enlarge in order to fit the brain. And you may see a lot of this drawings or science fiction movies or whatever, or maybe you've actually seen an alien. And they're always depicted as being little men, not necessarily little, with huge eyes and a huge cranium. Well, the cranium is actually significant, the size of it, because it means you have a larger brain. And your head is going to one day, I hate to tell you this, you're going to look like those typical little illustrations people like to write or put together on what an alien looks like. These are advanced civilizations that have knowledge so far beyond what we know mathematically and scientifically that we will never understand. Instantaneous space travel to get how many light years away. where we're using rocket propulsion fluid just to get off the Earth, and I think to a very advanced civilization outside of Earth, they would look at this and say, "Man, that is so primitive." They could find those black holes or wormholes and wind up in another galaxy in a matter of minutes or seconds. So, will the Earth even be here in the future to get that much advancement? I'm thinking not. But there are advanced. There has to be. You have to be arrogant to think that we're the only planet that has life on it. Let's be real. Do you realize the billions of galaxies out there, and we're going to be the only planet in the galaxy, you know, outside of the Milky Way or whatever, or outside of Alpha Centauri that has life on it? Come on, get real. That would be arrogance to believe that. No, I think the Earth is not perfectly round, just like my left eye is not perfectly symmetrical. It's called um, it's goddamn not ataxia, but I just said it earlier. And I don't think it's perfectly round, but it's not flat. Okay, but and as far as people, the argument whether we went to the moon or not, no, we never did. We never went to the moon. This was just a competition with Russia. We did not have the technology. We did not in the 60s have the technology to get to the fucking moon. We simply did not. We had the technology to orbit the planet, our planet, but we did not have the technology to make a landing on the moon. And as somebody said once, they said, we have highly precision telescopes that look at the flea on a flea, and you can see the surface of the moon. And we've never seen any byproducts of any man being on the moon, leftover rovers and stuff like that. And there's no evidence of that, and nothing added up anyway. Where the shadow was when they were supposedly walking on the moon, the shadow from the sun was not right. There was a number of things. There's a documentary out, and I want you to look it up. Were we really on the moon? Nothing jived. They were in the desert somewhere. It could have been Hawaii lava fields. It could have been anywhere. And that just didn't add up. And to this day, they had instructed those astronauts, and one of them that might still be alive. You're going to lose your pension and everything else if you really tell the people what they really want to hear. Did we really go to the moon? We did not go to the moon. We did not. I absolutely believe we did not go to the moon. And we were just in a big war of attrition or something with Russia. We wanted to show them we were ahead of them as far as space travel and landing on the moon. We have never landed on the moon. Just like the guy that said that, I never said that. I never said that. Okay. There is no real evidence besides a piece of shit looking film that was created in part in studio, in part in certain environmental areas, using a K2 red filter to darken the sky, for one. At that time, they didn't have high technology and digitized photography. You could turn a blue sky into perfectly black if you use a K2 filter, a red K2. No, the K2 was the yellow. Okay, the red was the, forgot the number on that. That just comes from my photography. You could render a blue sky perfectly black with filtration. Even their movements didn't look right. And a telltale sign. One of the better telltale signs of this? Ready for this? There's really no atmosphere on the moon. Why was the flag that they planted? Why was there a breeze on there? Why was it moving? You're not going to get that on the moon. That was one telltale sign. It makes you scratch your head now, doesn't it? Don't scratch your head to get the dandruff out of it. Scratch your head in wonderment. Why would the flag move? There's no atmosphere. the flag would be stagnant. It would not move in a breeze because there is no breeze there. Now, I'm not saying that there's never any atmosphere. Well, there's no atmosphere, really. But there wouldn't be any storms of such without an atmosphere. Why did the flag move? Right there. That alone. That alone. Oh, fuck Elon Musk. He didn't confirm anything. I listened to Musk's shit. We did not land on the moon. It never happened. Could we have possibly landed on an asteroid? Even that would be a challenge. A really large asteroid that's closer to the Earth. The moon is 240,000 miles away. It's 250,000 miles away. And back in the 60s, we had technology to orbit. We could orbit our planet. There was different shit that we could do. But we weren't that advanced yet. There were too many, wrenches in the machinery back in the 60s to make this happen. It was all theoretical at the time. Antiquated equipment we thought was very modern at the time, modern technology. For its time, it was. We look back at it now, and that was like, going from, what's a good example of that? Well, I had a good example in my mind. Just totally the opposite of what we think we could actually achieve at that time. Okay. I had something better in mind as a comparison, but it eludes me. You just gotta have an open mind. The government will make you believe whatever you want to believe. It's their job to make you think that they're working for you and your tax money or whatever. No, you're not. You're working for them. Keep that in mind. They are not working for you in any fucking way. They have cures to different diseases that they're not going to unleash on the public. You might ask, well, why aren't they doing that, Frank? I'm going to tell you why. Our population is growing too much, and our natural resources are going. They want to control the population by releasing a virus. Doesn't solve the whole problem unless it's that bad of a virus. They don't want to, they don't want this virus to kill the whole planet, but they want a virus, for example, that'll go around and kill plenty of people, millions. They got to reduce the population on the Earth. You might have seen a movie called The Purge, but it has a lot to do with that, really, when you think about it. Our natural resources and so forth. And we're not, the population's not going to be able to keep up. Our natural resources are going to be depleted. So that's what the government's thinking about. You think they're going to tell you everything that's going on? You think they're going to really come out and admit, according to the Freedom of Information Act in America, there's limitations, like I said, the freedom of speech everywhere. Remember freedom of speech, folks? But the Freedom of Information Act in America is not that available to people. And everything is blackened off with a permanent marker, you know what I mean? They'll let you know only a little information and the rest they're not going to tell you. It's top secret. There's things our government knows that you will never know unless you get a whistleblower, and he might wind up dead or lose his pension. Are there aliens? I'm sure they did find them. I'm sure they did. They experimented on them. We've come up with different technology that was having to do with reverse engineering, and that's both biological and from a actual ship that transported these so-called aliens that might be extraterrestrial or might be actually terrestrial. You just got to think out of the box. Okay, I see a good show to be able to hear each other out and share ideas. An astronaut, okay. Anyway, I went longer on my show than I wish. I actually have some things to do, folks. Like taking some of my supplements while my stomach is still full. I avoided that. And we're doing a little thing where we're doing some extreme vacuuming around the house for dust mites, anything like that. Yeah, I think it's these tiny ants that somehow they'll come on the bed overnight. Not a lot of them, just you get an extraneous one. We took everything off the mattress and turned it upside down and everything. We saw a few ants on there. So we've been getting these bites here and there. We're trying to figure out fleas, bed bugs, what could it be? Mites. We're ruling most of them out except for the ants. So it's good to take your bedding and always wash them often. And if you've got allergies, even if you don't, and look at the corners of your mattress where they have all the lining, the seams on there. They could hide in there. Just do a real good vacuuming a few times a week in your house. Yeah, we've been getting these bites, shit, almost on a daily basis, really. So my favorite chair that I sleep, I don't sleep on, I mean that I sit on in the living room, all the little nooks and crannies on there. I'm ready to go over. I want a different chair. This thing is kind of like funky now. It needs to have a good deep cleaning on there too, though. It's kind of made of a leather or something similar because I don't know if it's Naugahyde or leather, what it is. I didn't buy it new, but it's due for a replacement. But you have to really go over your house, get all these dust mites and all that crap and everything in here. Everything leaves off scales. Bugs leave off different scales that turn into a dust and can be actually not good for people that are allergy sufferers and so forth. Everything down to cockroaches, which is something I'm glad to say we don't see around here. All of it, you could have allergies to just about anything, dog hair, I'm sure of that. Just, keep everything clean, sweep and vacuum and mop and do that on a regular basis. And you're kind of helping yourself by doing that, really. Okay, guys, I got to go. I hope it's been informative. You know what? There's a magic number on here, 13. Magic number. And I know who's my regular viewers. I can get up to 42 according to what show I'm doing, but 13, it always averages out 13 at the end because there's 13 people, at least 12, that come on here and they're the ones that stay and listen. I notice that number all the time. I heard that they had that same problem in Leyte last year. Many bites all over my body. Yeah, we're getting them pretty routinely here. We're trying to rule out mosquitoes and we're trying to rule out everything. We're doing the best we can. I think and I would love to be able to identify them. They're just tiny, 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 tiny black ants. They're not the red kind, but they're tiny, tiny black ants. They come in through your window, no matter how tightly sealed your window really you think it is. They'll come through your window. They come through any kind of venting. They'll come through your AC outlets and so forth. And we've seen that happen. They even hide in your electronics. Every now and then, even on this goddamn phone, I see this tiny little microscopic ant on my screen. It's coming from inside my fucking phone. They're really a menace to your electronics. Keep that in mind. Okay, I do got to go. Hope you enjoyed the show. No drama on here, thank goodness. And just listen to your heart, is all I can tell you. And accept the challenges in life, face them like a man, and survive and get beyond the negativity. Make things a lot more positive in your life, and you'll live a more quality life. Like I said, you don't have to be a downhill skier. You can't do that here in the Philippines anyway. You don't have to do anything radical, but live your life. Walk. Get off your bed. Get off your seat. Get off your comfortable chair. Walk. Do, I don't know, 30 minutes a day, even 20 minutes a day, every single day. Walk. Get your blood circulated. Stay away from fucking pork. Stay away from too much salt, and absolutely, if you can't completely get rid of your sugars, then drastically reduce. Did you ever see on the internet a can of Coke and how much sugar is in that can of Coke, you'd freak out to see how much sugar is in that can of Coca-Cola. You wouldn't believe it until you actually seen the equivalent. It's a lot. Quite a bit. Okay. Catch you later, guys. I got to get the fuck out of it. Did we actually reach Monday again? Okay. Good. It's a business day. I need to have a business day today. Got to make a few calls. Officially a business day. And get kind of working on something here. Take care. Remember, I'm here because you're there. And we appreciate you coming to my channel while it's still here. And we're just doing our thing. That's all we're doing on here. You can believe, not believe, throw it out the window what I say on here. But I think people have been following me long enough to take some of my advice at least. And because a lot of things I say do make sense. And not everybody thinks out of the box like I do. I might have an unusual way of seeing things in life, but it's just called being aware. That's all. It's nothing complicated. Just be aware of yourself and just be aware of your environment and fuck anything else or everybody else. Think of yourself. Think of yourself.